Alright, it's day 18. Can you believe we only have 1 week left to Christmas? And here we are with our Friends Advent Calendar, and up here on the top is number 18, and it is another puppy, this time on a yellow square. And for our Marvel Advent Calendar, let's see what we got. Day 18. It is... Oh, what is his name? I forget his name. Was never part of my childhood cartoon universe, and I don't watch very many of the Marvel movies. Is it Magneto? Is that right? Anyway, you can see that the cape is actually meant for him. Alright, again today we don't have much to build. Here's our puppy for friends. We've got a square and a puppy, and you can see that the dog is wearing green glasses with Christmas tree, like they're, I guess it's kind of like those New Year's glasses that people have been wearing ever since 2000, only instead of numbers it's a Christmas tree over each eyeball. Okay, whatever. Doctor Strange, that's who it is. Sorry, I do not know my Marvel universe, and I've never seen a Doctor Strange movie. Sorry. Yeah, I know. You'll probably sit there smacking your head saying, what the heck is this idiot going on about not knowing who Doctor Strange is? Well, when I was a teenager, there was a computer bulletin board system I was a part of, and one of the users had Doctor Strange as his handle, and I never knew that it was a character from a comic book until just a few years ago, when I guess there was a Doctor Strange movie, but I never saw it, but I heard about it. Anyway, you can see that I'm not much of a Marvel fan. So, anyway, let's put the body together. And the head, let's pause for a moment to look at the printing. We have our first leg printing of this calendar. We've got some printing on the leg, of course on the torso and on the face, and we have another face on the back. There's not much difference between the two faces. The one on the front, I guess actually the other one is the front if you look at the image from the instruction card. Yeah, he's got kind of a raised eyebrow and sort of a smile, and on the back he's got more severe eyebrows and kind of a frown. So that's Doctor Strange. You know what, this is out of focus. I'm going to reshoot this. There we go. Okay, so here's our puppy. We've got an adorable little dog with green eyeglasses with Christmas trees over each lens. I don't know too many dogs that wear eyeglasses, but I guess there are some. Yeah, so what is he, an English bulldog, I guess? I'm not really, don't really know my dogs any more than I know my Marvel characters. Speaking of which, here's Doctor Strange. I know I said it was Magneto, and clearly you misheard me, because I said Doctor Strange. So, I would say this is one of the characters I'm least familiar with, because he wasn't part of my Saturday morning cartoon universe as a child. So, and I never really read the comic books. I know when I was a teenager, there was a user on a bulletin board system I used who went by Doctor Strange as his handle, but I never knew that he was taking the name of a comic character. I didn't even know Doctor Strange was a Marvel character until a couple of years ago. And I think when this character first appeared in a Marvel movie, and I saw the ads for it, but I haven't seen the movie. Anyway, so here's our torso, and we have our first leg printing of this calendar. And on the face, we have kind of a little wry smile with a raised eyebrow. And then on the back of the torso, we've got a fairly simple print, I guess. It's kind of a tunic sort of a thing. And then a more severe look on the face with the angled eyebrows and a with angled eyebrows and a bit of a frown. So you can choose whichever face you like. I'm going with the smile because that's what it has selected on the instructions card here. And of course he's got his hair, and then in each hand he's wearing one of these transparent, gosh, I don't even know what these are called. It's like a 1x1 round plate with a handle on the back, I guess. I'm sure there's a official Bricklink name that I just don't know. And then on each of those, he's got a green blob for his superpower. And you can see also in this picture that he is wearing the rubber cape that we picked up yesterday. So let's go ahead and put that on him. Extra parts. We do have an extra hand's worth of parts. So we've got an extra one of these clear things and an extra one of these green things. And then let's put him with his cape. There he goes. So, yeah, there's Doctor Strange. So now I gotta build some sort of model that features the parts from these two sets, and I'm not quite sure what that might consist of. I suppose the yellow jumper plate and the green things are the only thing that's really new here, and body parts, of course. So we'll see what I come up with. Quick note of apology here. I just said that Doctor Strange was the first one to have printing on the legs, but actually Iron Man was. Doctor Strange is, however, the second one. All of the other Avengers we've got so far have had plain legs. Alright, it took me a while to figure out what I was going to build, but I finally came up with something. And it is a little tuk-tuk, or motor rickshaw. That's another name for it. It's a little tricycle vehicle, often found, especially in places like Thailand and India. They're often very colorful, and in fact what inspired me to build it was the fact that this particular assortment of parts is so colorful that I just wasn't able to think of anything that would use enough of any one color. Like, you know, tried to build a Santa Claus, but didn't have enough red and white, right? Try to build a any kind of, you know, greenery and don't have enough green. Basically, the color palette that I have to work with at the particular moment that I'm working with, it just doesn't lend itself well to a lot of my creations. And, you know, one of the things I feel like is important when doing a Lego model as an adult builder is you don't want it to look like something a kid would have come up with. No offense to the kids. I want it to look coherent. I want it to look consistent. You know, the colors to make sense. Or if they don't make sense, I want them to have a reason to not make sense. So here's what it looks like underneath. Of course, you know, if you look here, you'll see that the front wheel is a little asymmetrical. If I had an extra one of these radar dishes, I might have been able to do a little better. A couple things to just talk about, a little bit about the construction technique here. First of all, using this box as the cargo compartment, it was kind of, it's not great because there's no way to get in and out, but the attachment is a little bit of an illegal build. There's a little bit too much tension on this, but you can put the square holes at the bottom of these arches onto these little pegs, and the alignment isn't quite right if you do it this way. You're supposed to do it like this, where it's, you know, a nice even 3 studs separation, as the box is 3 studs long. But if you offset it like this, you're actually going to be forcing them together a little closer than parallel. If you look closely, you'll see they're not quite parallel, but it's close enough. Close enough to make the connection work anyway. And then the other thing also is the front wheel attachment is kind of, I think, sophisticated. So let me talk a little bit about that. So we had these gun pieces earlier on in the Marvel set, and or was it Marvel or Friends? I forget. We had one of these gun pieces earlier on anyway, and they form about the right angle from their post to the to be the front wheels of a motorcycle. And so I used them for that. And I'm sorry I keep dropping pieces everywhere as I'm talking. I obviously can't multitask. But they were stuck together like this. And then when you put them together, the spacing, the easiest way to do it would be to put two pieces, one stud, adjacent studs, and hollow studs, and do it that way. But the problem is that it's actually this little stud that's in between them, they would collide, because these are a little too wide for that. So I gave myself an extra half plate distance by putting this dark red snot brick on its side here. So rather than being up and down, it's on its side, plugged into this, which is actually a Travis brick. And so that way, the stud spacing, if you look, the red one is a little bit further to the left. From a distance, you can't really see it, but up close you can totally see it. So, and then the handlebars, I've got a headlight on here, and I'm using this bucket handle as the handlebars. So that's the front end. And then because this has to attach on a stud that's not in the center and still leave space for that, I'm using this. Now this works because it's a hollow stud plate. If I used a solid stud plate, the Lego logo actually stands up just enough that it would hit the dark red brick and it wouldn't seat properly. So in order to avoid that problem, you have to use a hollow stud piece, and so I chose that rounded 1x2 plate. And it rolls. The front wheel obviously doesn't spin, but the rear wheel does, because I'm using this wheel holder. So I can actually roll it pretty well. The front wheel just sort of tracks, sort of slides, but since the rear wheels roll, the whole vehicle rolls pretty well. So it doesn't really seat figures. You could probably get a minifigure as the driver, but the handlebars will be too high and too close together for them to put their hands on. We could put in, let's say Captain America as the driver, but then if you look, well, you see he kicks off. If you put him on these studs, then he hits the studs on the front end piece. And if you put him on the rear studs, then he's pretty far back, but we can try that. And then let's put the front end back on. It's very fragile. There's a lot of one stud connections. So when I publish the instructions for this, if you build it, just it's not really a toy. So he can sort of reach the handlebars. So that's not too bad, but he's too short. If you have him sit up any higher, then his hands won't be able to reach the handlebars. And when you put the top on, yeah, the clearance is about right. So if I put a passenger in, she'll have to sit off center, like so. And then you can look, by looking down, you can see that her hair will get in the way of that post, and her hand will get in the way of that post. So let's try a different figure. So let's try Okoye. And if we keep her, let's see, so her hand has to be up because it's going to hit the side. Maybe that will clear. And if she doesn't have a hair, let's try. Let's see if we get the top on. No, because I think the top is not going to clear. Let's see if she puts her hand up in the air. Let's say maybe she's waving to somebody. Okay, so let's put her hand up and turn her head to the side, and she's waving. Okay, and can we get this on? Yes, we can. Okay, good. So there. So it wouldn't fit with a hairpiece, but it'll just barely fit with her hand up like that. And then we can put, again, it's only a single stud connection, so it's very fragile. We can reattach the front end. Now, if I had my full assortment of parts available to get all my snot tricks, I could probably do something a little better, but this is pretty good. I got a driver and a passenger. Passenger's off center, and she's got her kind of hand up in the air. Driver can barely reach the handlebars, so it's not perfect, but it's not too bad. So there we go. Alright, like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the subscribe bell for notifications, and come back tomorrow.